Welcome back. Today I'm in the field testing the Sigma 500 f5.6 sports lens, so let's put it to use. Sigma sent me this lens a few weeks ago, so admittedly I have been shooting with it for the better part of a few weeks now, and so I feel like I've really gotten to know the ins and outs of this lens. So when it comes to tech specs, let's just start from the top. Like I mentioned, it's a 500mm f5.6 to f32, and there's a manual aperture ring on here as well, which is pretty awesome. I find myself using it every now and then. The autofocus when paired with my Sony a7R5 is super responsive and tack sharp. The lens itself is lightweight, which is pretty important to me as somebody that shoots a lot of handheld, both video and photo. And that's not typical for prime lenses or even telephoto lenses. So to have something that is lightweight, also with 5 stops of image stabilization, it's a win-win. The lens hood has a tangible screw, which makes this feel very secure. And something that I quite like is the tripod ring, because there is a click when you're vertically or horizontally aligned. And there's actually a deer behind me, so I'm gonna go take some photos of it. I stopped to photograph some Canadian geese, and they're kind of taking a break right now, so I figured I would tell you what all is happening on the side of this lens, because there are lots of buttons and lots of different switches. Out here on the front, you have 3 customizable buttons, as well as the aperture declick switch. And on the other side, which you can't see from this angle, is an aperture lock switch. So both of those paired together when you're using the physical aperture ring are super helpful. And then up here you have the autofocus and manual focus switch. And then you have the focal length switch, which is super helpful for controlling your focal length or your focal distance, we'll call it, because think about when you're shooting, we'll say when you're photographing a deer and it's kind of obstructed by some shrubbery, this will help kind of pull that focus on the deer rather than pull focus on the shrubbery. I'm a visual learner, so maybe that kind of helped you. And down here you have the stabilization switch. So on switch 1, that is really good for handheld stuff. And then on number 2, it is good for panning kind of when you're on a tripod or even when you're handheld. And then way down here, which again can't see from this angle, is another custom switch. Oh, that was cool. I'm photographing some hooded mergansers right now, and I'm shooting it all handheld. Like I do most of my wildlife photography, I would say handheld, and I find that this lens is so lightweight, so I feel like my arms aren't getting as fatigued as they normally do with my normal telephoto lens. And not to mention, the image stabilization is pretty great. So I feel like that paired with how lightweight it is, I'm reaching for my tripod even less. We have a garter snake. I found a little green frog. I don't quite know what it is. I'll put that somewhere here. I'm punched in so close. When I'm taking photos, I can see its like throat expanding and contracting. little detail. Just sort of hunting for different perspectives, different subjects through the lens. I feel like sometimes I find my best shots through the lens rather than through my eye, especially when you have compression like on a 500 mil. You just can see things a little differently. So I'm kind of just looking at these tall grasses, seeing if there's anything I can focus in on. Maybe I catch a bird. I can hear a bird. One of the things I'm also noticing as I look through the viewfinder is the focus fall off, and something I picked up on in editing photos from this lens before, like as I've been shooting with it for the last few weeks, I've really noticed the focus fall off, and the bokeh is super clean, and some of the images I'm getting here, you're getting circular bokeh from the sunlight hitting the water, and it's so beautiful. The patterns of these tall grasses too is pretty awesome, and it's not something necessarily I came to sit in the spot specifically for. I really came here to look for some songbirds, but I ended up photographing some tall grass, and the patterns that they've created along with the light. It's midday right now, and the way the light is hitting them it's really warm, and then you have that paired with the blue water in the background, and it's just this combination of this beige and blue that I love. And the way that the patterns of these tall grasses are, it kind of is just this accoutrement of perfect things happening in frame right now. And it may seem like a little nothing image. I mean, I walk by this tall grass all the time, like at home even, and you never really pay much attention, but I swear when I look through the viewfinder of my camera, it's a whole different world, and this lens just brings you deeper into the tiny worlds that you walk past. A couple of helicopters going overhead, so there's that. Don't know if you can hear the cannons as well. I'm rolling on a heron right now, and it's quite a ways off. And one of the first things I think I thought about when I got this lens was I felt 500 mils was going to be limiting because I'm really used to zoom telephoto lenses. But I will say this camera allows me to also do an APS-C crop, which is about a 1.5 times crop on the sensor. So not only do I have 500 mils with this lens, I also have 750. And another thing, like on that same note, is that what you think you lose in versatility, you actually gain so much in quality. Like I mentioned earlier, the focus fall off is absolutely incredible, and the images out of this camera are so sharp. And with 61 effective megapixels in my camera as well, that APS-C crop, I don't notice a difference, and I'm still able to crop in and post if I want to. Gonna do a bit of a handheld stabilization test here with some video. Kind of give you a glimpse of like what the stabilization is like in lens for video. So really one of the last things to touch on with this lens is the price point. So today, at the date of recording, this lens comes in at about $3,000 US. And for the image quality, subject sharpness, lightweight, and overall just compactness of this lens, I definitely recommend it. And to be honest, I was skeptical at first when it came to trying a telephoto prime lens. I'm used to zoom lenses and really live in that ecosystem. So to hop into something totally new, over 10 years into my career was definitely scary, but since I got this lens, it's lived on my camera for all things wildlife, and I'm gonna be really sad to see it go. Sigma, please don't make me send it back. Or maybe send it back and I'll take it on another adventure. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.